I'd like to thank Rise to It for giving us an awesome time at Alpine Vista and giving out lots of amazing prizes.
Thank you, Rise to It, for bringing us such an awesome production.
I would like to thank Rise to It for coming today. We had a great time. We did activities, all fun stuff. They encouraged us that if you can rise to it, you can rise through it. And we had a great time. Thank you for encouraging us.
When your back's up against the wall, just know you got a place to stay. I know sometimes it gets hard, but all you gotta have is faith. If you can rise to it, you can rise to it. If you can rise to it, you can rise through it.
Hey, what's going on, family, and welcome to another edition of the Rise to It podcast, your home for personal and professional development. My name is Jonathan Hernandez, a.k.a. the letter H, and with us today, we got Mr. Andre Covington, but we also got a lot of delicious food right in front of us. Wow. Today, we have very special guests. Let's give it up for Chloe and Steven, CEOs of Hummus Republic. Let's go. Steven and Chloe, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a hot minute. I know, Steven, we go way back. Selma boys.
Yep.
Let's talk about that. Almost 30 years we've known each other?
Yeah, just about, man. We met in Little League.
Yeah.
I was about 10 years old. I think you were 9. I think you're older than me or so.
Yes.
Yeah. So we played on the Braves for about 3 years. H's dad was our coach. Awesome coach, probably the best coach I had.
Hey, wait a minute. We got to talk about that, man, because a lot of people that know my pops know he's really tough, right? So what was your experience working with my pops? Shout out to my pops.
I mean, he was very tough for sure, but he was awesome, man. He was a great leader, great mentor, man, and shout out to him for sure.
Excellent.
Now, who was taller back then of you two?
I don't know. We were probably the same height.
Right, man. See, Dre doesn't know about this. I actually was this height in 6th grade, so they were already looking at me for basketball, and then after that, that was it. Chloe, thanks for joining us.
Of course.
For those of the viewers, I asked them, do you guys want to go to co-CEOs, co-founders? Like, hey, both of us are in the business together. So, Chloe, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I know you guys have been doing a lot of great things. So, we're going to get to know kind of the behind the scenes on Hummus Republic in today's episode. So, Chloe, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And so, Hummus Republic, let's talk first about how'd you guys get the name?
So, Hummus Republic is a franchise. We back in 2019 we were looking to start a business. We just kind of looked at different restaurants and franchises. We looked at creating a concept of our own, but we felt like a franchise was an easier route because obviously the name's already created, the menu, stuff like that. It's just going to be a little bit simpler, and we thought. Yeah, yeah, for sure. And back in 2019, we were both eating vegan for a little while, and then I transitioned to vegetarian. She stayed vegan for almost 8 years. And back then there just was really not a lot of options outside of Taco Bell or making your own food. So we wanted to find something that everybody could enjoy versus like what we were prone to is she would eat at home and then we would go to dinner somewhere else, and we would go to some vegetarian option restaurant, and then the meat eaters would be all sad because there was nothing to eat there. So so that's what kind of caught our attention with this concept is they had stuff for everyone there. So
that's good. Let's talk about that health journey, because I know that there was, from what I understand, something that happened to where you're like, I want to just go and pivot vegan completely. And I believe was that with you, Chloe, that you just wanted to commit to like this lifestyle of eating this way? How did that, let's talk about maybe the behind the scenes on that.
Sure. So it's super random. We watched a documentary and we were like, I think we need to eat healthier. I think we need to, there was a lot more to it because obviously, his dad was, not doing so hot at the time, and he needed to eat healthier too. And so we're like, okay, are we going to start eating healthier as a family? And so, we committed to eating vegan. We lost a ton of weight. It was like we were all about it. And then we found vegan junk food, and then it went downhill.
Yeah, for sure. I fell into that trap of, I was like, oh, well, I lost 50 pounds. In less than 6 months. So not even working out. I didn't go to the gym. I literally just changed what I was eating. I was just only eating plant-based stuff. And I cut out, sugar. I was only drinking water. And, I lost the weight pretty fast. And I was like, man, if I did this without even working out, then I can maintain going back to eating normal as long as I go work out. And I was like, I'll go to the gym. But, you know, I never went back to the gym. And I started eating, you know, real crappy again. And at the time, I worked on the road. I used to be a technician for ADT security, so I was on the road all the time. So it was just really hard for me to eat healthy on the road. So unless I was making my own food, it was McDonald's, Burger King, you know, all day long, you know, three times a day. You know, so one, it was costing me a lot of money, and two, you know, it was just really junk food. So, shoot, I lost all my weight back in like less than 30 days. You know, I got it all back. I was like, dang, man, this is crazy. So, you know, I dabbled in a couple of different diets throughout the time after that. I tried keto for a little bit, you know, and that worked really well for me too. But yeah, you know, then once I started working at the restaurant full time, it just kind of went downhill because I don't have a lot of time to eat. So when I do eat, I just eat junk food. You know, so.
It seems though as though that, like, you know, our eating habits, you know, our weight fluctuations. It happens to everybody just about, you know. How did your body feel after eating healthy, losing weight, and then you get into a bad eating pattern and you start to gain weight? How does it take on your physical? I mean, did it make you like sleepy, tired? Did you feel listless? What was the problem you dealt with most?
I don't think I ever felt better in my life than those 6 months that I ate plant-based. Like, I used to feel great. I would wake up every morning full of energy, and it didn't matter if I slept 8 hours, 3 hours. Like, I would wake up. I didn't need energy drinks. I didn't need coffee. Like, my body just felt all the time like I was ready to go, you know, for everything. And then once I started transitioning back to the tacos, to the burgers, drinking the soda again, you know, I felt all sluggish, you know, and just like I would be in bad moods. Like, I felt like I was angry all the time, you know, and a lot of it had to do with just what I'm eating, you know. It was crazy.
I know my body. I've eliminated coffee. I've cut back on a lot of sugary stuff, the cookies and I love muffins. Mm-hmm. That was my thing. Coffee and muffins in the morning. I've cut all that out, and I feel like now some of my joints are starting to hurt. And someone told me that's your body mad at you, you know, because it's almost like it's craving for you to get that sugar, because sugar can mask a lot of things, and then it hits you hard later. You know, it can just make you feel like you have all this energy and that you feel like you can run through a wall, but really it's depleting you. And now that I've tried to eliminate a lot of it, I'm starting to feel like I'm really starting to feel how I would have been feeling then. But so now I got to work through that. Yeah. That's the whole thing. Work through it. Continue the journey of trying to eat better and eliminate some of that stuff. But I love what you have brought in front of us today, and this looks really healthy.
It's definitely healthy. But, you know, for those of you that like junk food, I mean, I can still make you something unhealthy.
Steven's looking directly at me right now.
So sometimes, you know, people come and be like, oh, this is too healthy. Don't worry, we can make it unhealthy. You know?
Did you want to get into this? What?
You know, I was already taking some bites while you were talking right there, but what do we have in front of us? Like, what is this? If the customers go into your spot,
so it looks like
exactly?
we made you a chicken shawarma bowl, and is that a steak bowl?
They're half and half.
Oh, okay, so half Moroccan steak, which is a little bit of a spicy steak, and then chicken shawarma, which is like one of our staple Mediterranean things. It's going to be a grilled chicken with some good seasoning on it. Yeah.
All the fixings in it, everything else is like...
Oh yeah, so we just put a few toppings on there, like some pickled red cabbage, chopped tomato, cucumber, onion. You know, just. But the cool thing about our place is you get to decide what you want on it, so you get to choose. So let's say you don't like onion. Too bad we brought it for you like that. But if you don't like onion, there's no like preset. You don't have to worry about us putting what you don't want on there, because we're gonna build it. It's just essentially like a Mediterranean Chipotle. We're gonna build it how you want it.
I like that. And so, like, I know you guys are the founders, you guys are the creators, you guys are the CEOs, you guys are operating everything. But how often are you actually at the restaurants? Because you have 2 locations in Fresno, correct?
Correct. We're pretty much there every day. Yep. Okay, we're there every day. We have 2 locations, so like either what we try to do majority of the time is spend our time together. Like, that's the cool thing about owning a business, is that no, we don't get days off, but we can try to make sure that we're together. So like we try to make sure that we're working together at the same restaurant and vice versa, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. We do have to split up because both of the locations need our attention, you know.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Now, we have the restaurant, and forgive me, you're going to hear me chewing, like, for the viewers that are listening, but how did you guys meet? Because I've known Steven for a while, we're Selma boys, but how did you two, like, what was that spark? Like, did Steven make the first move? Did Chloe make the first move? Like, how did that go down?
We used to work together many years ago. So we've been together, it'll be 14 years this year. So we used to work together at a Mexican restaurant. And then after because we both left the restaurant, is where we kind of like actually started seeing each other. And
He asked me if I wanted to be a server, so he tried to move me up. No, I'm just
Okay,
kidding.
Hey.
You want a promotion? I got it.
There's some extra money on the side, yeah, okay. Extra hours.
It's
so
not
yeah, so we just kind of met while we were working there. We became friends, and then after that, got a little bit more serious. Yeah, so.
Now, Chloe, I got to ask, because Steven and I've known him for so long, it took a while for him to kind of get out of his shell.
Yeah.
And I think as an adult, I think those
still
traits
am.
are still like kind of the same, right? So, Chloe,
I'm still
were you
working
the
on it.
aggressor?
No.
No? Not at all?
No. I think that it was different because we were friends first, So we got to know each other on a different level. So it was different for sure.
Now, how was that now? Okay, you guys are owners, co-owners, and you got a business, and you want everybody to be professional. What is your view on workplace relationships? Now, if something was to start up now, as the boss, would you frown upon it, or you just kind of leave it alone, or is there kind of guidelines? Hey, guys, just be careful at work. I know some places have different policies. That's all I'm saying.
The majority of places, they have a zero tolerance policy for that, but man, I worked in the restaurant industry for a long time, and even that place had those policies, but there's just really no stopping it, so you just kind of have to monitor it and be careful, schedule them on different shifts, etc., because there's always that chance that somebody might take something the wrong way, and
This
it could
is
create
such a
an issue.
small
But
family business that we don't even have the possibility right now.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
don't have enough staff to be dating. So.
There you go.
literally, we have 4 employees, and 3 of them are a nephew and a niece of the other employee. So it's they're all related. They're not going to be
And
dating
then one's
each other.
my cousin. So.
And then
Yeah.
one's her cousin.
There's some earthly rules that apply to them.
So we're very small. We learned some things throughout the last 3 years. We used to have tons of employees and tons of staff, and then, after time goes by, we realized, hey, man, we don't even need this much people, So,
And
took
that's
some time
$20
to figure
an
out.
hour, man.
Yeah. Especially now.
I want to talk about that. How did that, when that all came down, I saw that there were little loopholes, something about the bread or something, if you make your own
So
bread.
it doesn't apply to us, luckily, but it actually does affect us no matter what, because who wants to work for less than that now?
Yeah.
Realistically. But,
And all
we
the
talked
price
about it.
increases throughout the board, produce, meats, all that stuff. All that stuff went up no matter what, because of the Taco Bells, the Chipotles, and all the big chains that have to pay that dollar amount, So
it brought everything up. But
it brought everything up.
The good thing about working for us is that you're getting that small family business feel. And you don't get that when you work at Taco Bell or McDonald's. They don't care. So it's just a little bit different when you're working for us.
So for those students that I have, in the college classroom, a lot of them that are not exposed to business. And what's your experience for both of you? Did you have family members that were entrepreneurs already doing this type of thing and knowing the struggles, the ins and outs of the business? Chloe, starting with you, Chloe.
Yeah. So my dad is probably what I'd call a serial entrepreneur. He's had a few businesses growing up. And I definitely learned a lot from him, seeing there's definitely been a lot of struggles. I could tell you all kinds of things, times when the PG&E got cut off and we couldn't open our fridge for 3 days, things like that. You see those struggles as an entrepreneur, and we're going through it ourselves, we're doing those same struggles. We're new business owners, so we're learning things that probably couldn't have been taught by my dad. I didn't know that he's paying his employees before he's paying himself. You're finding out things, living through it. So we're learning as we go for sure. And we're only on year 3. It's still really new. But no, thank God we made it that far. But it's still new. We're learning, every day.
Well, you kind of came towards the end of the pandemic. So you kind of a lot of people had cold feet
Yeah.
to jump in, and I applaud. Look, come on, man. You guys, you jumped in the water when it was the coldest, you know, and I applaud you for that.
Thank you. We were affected by the pandemic for sure, though. We signed for this restaurant in January of 2019. We signed a lease November of 2019. We were supposed to break construction March of 2020, and COVID hit. So we didn't open until April of 2021. And luckily, we've had a lot of people. I'd like to say luckily, but it's one of those things where you know that that's a God moment, because like we wouldn't be open right now had we not had people in our corner. If we wouldn't have
good
God in our
landlord
corner,
for sure.
You know, like our landlord downtown has been super amazing. She like got us through that whole time. You know, she didn't have to most of the time. Some of it, of course, they were like required to, but some of the things she did for us, like she wanted us to be successful, you know, and we wouldn't be here without those people in our corner, you know.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Chloe, let's talk about that, because I just realized like Frankie and Celeste are behind the cameras today. Dre, myself, everybody in this room, in the studio, are business owners. What was it like with a restaurant? You know, post-COVID, barely fresh out. What were some of those nerves and those hesitancies that you had of like, I don't know if we should do this, and maybe other people telling you shouldn't do this? Can you explore that a little bit, Chloe?
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the things that we were told a long time is like, maybe this pause is for good. Because obviously we didn't open until 2021. And I think that was a huge factor, is that we needed that pause, because I don't know if we'd be open right now if we opened before pandemic. Like realistically, I have no idea how our business would have looked had we had opened a few months before the pandemic hit. But it was definitely challenging. Like we had to wear masks at the beginning when we opened, and everybody was wearing masks. You know, we opened like April 21 and it was still, you know, full-fledged. Everyone was still wearing masks. And of course, eventually it kind of died off, but it was definitely there. Like we were like, okay, we're mostly going to be to go. And that's kind of where we've been at still. We've noticed that our food is still a mainly to-go thing, when not necessarily we thought that was going to be how it was originally, but now it's like mainly takeout, you know, and we've definitely seen rise in like DoorDash, Grubhub, things like that, because people don't go and dine out as much as they used to, you know, especially during that time.
Steven, what about you taking that plunge, man, that leap of faith? How was that process for you?
For me, it was a little bit different, right? I had a little bit different experience because I continued to work, you know. So even when we were going through all that struggle of opening, and even when we first opened the restaurant, you know, I don't think I fully was involved yet. Like I was still checked out. I was still just kind of like working, doing my own thing, you know. And I was just like, you know, it'll open eventually, you know. Like right now, I was just so focused on I got to pay the bills, so I'm just gonna work, you know. And not until, you know, probably we were almost 3 or 4 months in, you know, I was like, okay, like, we're open now, you know, like, we can do it, like, you know, maybe I should leave my job, you know. So, like, I was still kind of, like, up in the air if I should continue to work or if I should, you know, just do the restaurant full time. So, after I think we opened in April. Yeah, we opened in April, and then in September, I hit my 1-year anniversary as a supervisor at ADT. So, I was at ADT for 14 years. And the last year that I was there, I got promoted to the service manager, which even that, you know, like I didn't even want to do that because I was like, man, you know, I'm going to, like, I already knew like the restaurant's going to be open in a year. Should I take this new position, you know? But I had just been out of a leadership role for so long, you know, because like I was in management before that at a South Mexican restaurant, you know. That was pretty much my first job. I worked there all through high school, and after, you know, I started there as a dishwasher. And I worked my way up to their kitchen manager and then to their front of house manager, you know. So I worked there for about 10 years straight, and then I left, and then I went back. You know,
Glad you went back, huh?
Yep. So on that second tour where I went back is when I met Chloe. But yeah, you know, so like I hadn't been in any type of management role or anything for 14 years because I was at ADT for, you know, 12 years at that point. So I was like, maybe I should, you know, take on this role so I can get, you know, some of my experience back of, you know, leading a team and whatnot, so that when we do focus on the restaurant, you know, I can get back into that mind frame, you know, because, I mean, I knew I could do it, but I just wanted like a refresher course, I guess, you know. So it was cool, you know, it was a good experience there. And then on my 1-year anniversary to the date was my last day at ADT, you know. So I gave them plenty of notice, you know. I gave them like 2 months notice and tell them, you know, on this day will be my last day, and we're just gonna, you know, hit the ground running for the restaurant. So that was cool, man. But yeah, you know,
you
so
gotta follow that dream, man.
yeah, you know,
gotta
so
get
it's
in
just, you know, just one of those things. Like I wanted to just turn like a negative situation into a positive, you know. So like the whole reason we were even able to even explore becoming business owners, because, you know, we suffered, you know, a negative situation. You know, I lost my father in 2018, and, you know, he's my best friend, man. It was just me and my dad for a long time, and I didn't think that I would even survive it, you know. But if it wasn't for Chloe and my kids, you know, like, that's how I got through it. So, you know, when that happened, you know, I was just like, man, like, how can I turn this negative into a positive, you know, because I'm not going to make it through this situation if I don't create something positive, you know. So that's when we started talking about, well, let's just open a business, you know, let's open a business with what he left us, and, you know, we're able to create something for our own kids, and, you know, and for us to just kind of like build on and be positive, you know. So that's kind of why we did, you know, the restaurant and stuff. So it's not like you know, so nobody in my family was an entrepreneur, you know, nobody was a business owner. It was just, you know, this situation happened, and I was like, man, like, how could I make my dad proud? And like, he knew, you know, when I was working at sales full time, I was like, man, you know, I want to open a restaurant, because, you know, when you're working at a restaurant, you think, oh, I could do this, you know, I want to do this stuff, man. And then
That's how I would do it.
Like, after a year and a half, man, I'm like, dude, I should have stayed just working out, man. For sure. I don't want all this stuff, you know, and you're getting calls at midnight, 1 a.m, like, hey, your alarm's going off. Hey, it smells like gas. Hey, this and that, you know, and like, you're having to get up and, you know, go take care of that stuff, or show up to your site at 9 a.m. and you have a shutoff for your PG&E because they were like, oh, well, your neighbor called in a gas leak. I was like, man, why don't you call me? Why you call the fire department, you know? So it's just like all these craziness, man, that goes with it, you know. So I think it's funny to always see the TikToks and the Instagrams of, you know, like what they think business owners' life is, you know. And I just think it's hecka funny, because they just think like, you know, everybody's out there just partying and stuff, and your staff is working, but it's nowhere near that, you know. At least not for us. It's not yet.
having that business, man, it's almost like being a homeowner. Like, for the first time when you move out of an apartment. I remember I bought my first condo, and one day my toilet wouldn't work. I was like, man, I guess I got to fix this. So I was like, man, I got to take care of this. I can't just call the manager at the front door. Like, hey, man, this toilet, I ain't paying rent for nothing. Like, and I had to figure it out, you know. And it's like all that responsibility falls on you, and everybody looks at you. As soon as there's a problem, they're looking at you guys like, hey, fix it. And that's just, it's a lot of responsibility comes with that. And to step up and do that, you know, I tip my hat to you. Just,
thank you.
It's not easy, and it's just, and it's nonstop, and it's always going. And you mentioned that, you know, not being able to take a vacation. It's like, I have friends who run businesses, and when they go on vacation, it's so hard to relax on my vacation, because, like, I still have my phone line open. I have to be able to, and that's why they don't do cruises. They're like, I don't go on a cruise, because then they say we're out to sea and you can't get a call. I cannot receive a call. So it is just to see and I say sometimes you gotta find a way to unwind. You know, you have to find a way to unplug, and just, if it's a day, you know, you have to believe that the people that you've entrusted and you trained for at least that day, they can hold it down, you know.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard, though, trust me, because there's times, like, every time we leave, something happens.
Yeah.
Like, oh, by the way, we shut off your water, and we didn't warn you that we were going to shut it off because we're working on something. Like, what?
What?
Yeah,
What
for
do you
sure.
mean the water's not working good? You know, like,
Yeah, or
we
like
need
my
our
staff
water.
calls me, hey, man, the sink busted. Like, it's leaking water out the back everywhere. And I'm just like, oh, man, like, all right, well, just shut the water off, you know? Like, nothing I can do about it right now, man.
Yeah.
I'm 300 miles away.
How do I shut the
crazy,
water
right?
off? Oh my God.
FaceTime me.
Yeah, man, dude, like, it's been crazy, man.
Never fails. Yeah.
How rewarding. I know we've talked about, I mean, the difficulties, we could write a whole dissertation, right? We could do
yeah,
like a
for
whole
sure.
week of things of just like that you're learning as well. But man, we didn't even think about this problem. Now this is occurring. But what are the benefits to see like your own restaurant. How was that like your first day when the lights were on? You're like, hey, the grand opening's gonna be this day. It's just for family, friends. I don't know how you guys did it, but that first day to actually witness and be a part of like your own history, like what you're paving the way for your children, for your family, for you guys. What was that like, Chloe, for you to see this is actually happening? It's happening now.
Yeah, I mean, it still doesn't, I guess, like, I feel like I still suffer from, like, an imposter syndrome, if that makes sense, because I still feel like I haven't made it yet. So I hear you. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, we have 2 restaurants, but I still feel like we're not there yet, that I'm like, oh, yeah, we have 2 restaurants. Yeah. You know, like, it's just like, there's still that struggle, but absolutely, it's really cool to look back and to see. The cool thing now is like our kids are getting older to the age where they're starting to help work with us and they're starting to do things at the restaurant with us. And that's, I think, the most rewarding part is that we're able to involve our family in it. And, you know, like we have from the beginning, but now that, you know, our oldest is 15 and he's able to do those things, you know, like, yeah, you're old.
Yeah, we were just talking about that last night. Yeah, Steven, we're like, how long has it been, man?
Yeah, but like that's definitely the rewarding part is seeing like for sure and seeing the things that where we've come with this brand. You know, originally how he was telling you that it was a franchise, but we've helped develop their recipes. We've helped, you know, put the word out for this to where now they're, you know, signing 70 locations nationwide. Wow. And half of those locations we have been involved in, you know, so like it's really cool to see that we are growing with this brand, and we're hoping that it, you know, we hope it's the next Chipotle. We're hoping it takes off, you know.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now, how does that work? Like, oh, okay, of course, your ownership, and then you help. If you bring somebody in, can you get a percentage of that or a cut, or is it just more or less you're just trying to build the whole brand?
We're just trying to help.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, like, yes, logistically, yes, like if I were to sign somebody and help them, like, you know, hey, I'm going to sign you up, you know, yeah, yes, we could, but more so we do it because we want the brand to represent something, you know, like, and so this brand, anybody that opens one is going to reflect on us. True. So we want to be involved, you know. It's the same thing, like I told you, our friend owns the one in Visalia, and we reflect on each other. So we constantly talk about how we can build this brand together, you know, like.
Because that's so true. If someone goes to one and it's a bad experience,
that's right,
they're going to be on social media. This is horrible. This is bad. And it's like now everyone has to go into damage control. And it's just like, and so I can see why that would definitely make perfectly good sense to make sure, hey, what do you need from us? Any ideas? This is what we're doing over here. This seems to be working. Why don't you try that? That's really good for the brand overall.
That's kind of what we do. Yeah.
Good karma right there.
Absolutely. The leadership that you guys have, I mean, is that something that was developed with your parents? I mean, Steven, you talked about your father, and I know we caught up, I think, when we started the podcast, you know, and I was reaching out to you, and I was like, let's catch up. Like, what's going on? And you mentioned your pops.
Yeah.
Where did that leadership come from you? Because obviously both of you have it to be at this level, to have 2 restaurants, not 1, but 2. Where did that come from for you?
For me, honestly, man, it was sales. You know, I learned all my leadership stuff with, you know, the owner of Sal's, Lorraine Salazar. You know, she was just like a mentor to me, you know, and, you know, I worked for her since 15 years old, you know, to almost 25, 26 years old straight before I left and then went back. You know, so I just learned a lot from her, just kind of watching her and her brother Carl and kind of how they did things. And, you know, the one great thing about that restaurant is she always provided a lot of information and a lot of training. So, you know, she would have us take management courses. She would bring people in for the whole management team. And, you know, we had to take a lot of classes. And so I think that's where, you know, I learned almost all of it from. You know, and then after I left there and when I transitioned to ADT, you know, I had a lot of great managers at ADT too, you know. So I got to see 2 different types of management, you know. So I learned management on a, you know, personal level of it's a personal family-run business to a big corporate chain, you know, because obviously they're completely different types of fields and they were ran completely different, you know. So I learned a lot of like empathy and how to handle, you know, like situations with employees on a personal level at sales, because, you know, it was a family business, and And then I learned, more like numbers driven items, or, like how to meet goals and stuff like that at ADT, because ADT is corporate. They're more about, they want this number met, any means possible, and they didn't care if you were there 15 years or 5 years. If you weren't hitting that number, they were finding someone who could, so like, it was just learning both of those things and how to integrate the two and together, to be the best leader that, I could basically be. So
You found yourself probably not nitpicking, but just picking from different management and building yourself to be what you thought would be the most effective manager for you moving forward.
Yeah,
I had managers like that. We had one guy when I worked at McDonald's. He had this phrase: "If you got time to lean, you got time to clean."
Yeah.
We
use
I heard that when I was 15.
We use that a lot at Sal's.
Yeah, and that stuck with me because it made sense. If you're at work, you're there to work.
Yeah.
And if you're leaning, what do I need you for? You're not doing the job. So I try to implement that, and I also had the supervisor, the manager, who was kind of like that big father figure. Say, hey, so how's school going? What are your goals in life? Or point out different flaws. And I had one manager tell me, he said, there are going to be some things that I do you should remember, and there's going to be some things I do you should forget. So I thought that was a good one too.
Yeah. I like that. Chloe, what about you? I mean, the leadership style, obviously you talked about your father and just a little backstory about your pops. I didn't know he was a Raider fan. And so, like, I was like, he's a good guy. Steven, are you a Raider fan?
Heck no.
Okay, we got to get him off this podcast immediately, right?
You're outnumbered.
We were at a function, and your father was telling me, he's like, John, I'm going to be going to the Raider game. And I was like, I'm looking at my watch, I'm like, it's a home game. It's like 4 hours away. And so we're still talking, and it's like 3 hours away. And I'm like, dude, don't you got to go to the Raider game? He's like, oh, yeah, man, my private plane. I was like, oh, wait a minute. My dude got a private plane. He was going to Vegas. Sure enough, he's there. He texted me. He's like, yep, just made it just in time. I was like, wow, right? So from the humble beginnings you talked about, taking a private plane to the Raider game, that's pretty sweet. But the leadership of him, you've seen him at the bottom. You've seen him now doing other things, too. Yeah. So was it your pops? Was it a culmination, maybe?
Of course, yeah, that has a lot to do with it. But I think dipping my toes in the water now, I'm still learning every single day. I think that Steve has been a huge support for me because I only worked corporate jobs. So it's seeing this whole, he's teaching me how to be empathetic and teaching me how to do those things from his, of course, experience because he has a lot more experience than I do as far as the leadership goes. And I worked at, I sold cars for 12 years. That's what I did before we opened the restaurant. And so it was very numbers driven. It was very different, and I did mentor, I did teach people how to do sales, but it's totally different when you're in a restaurant, like that's not your number one goal is, there is a bit of sales to do with it, of course, because customer service is sales. You're selling yourself, but at the end of the day, like it's totally different. And I think I lean on Steve a lot because he's teaching me that aspect, because I still am in the mindset of an employee. And he's really teaching me how to be more managerial.
Yeah, because sometimes, man, we forget that, employees are human beings.
Right.
And they go through stuff, they have bad days, have good days, they're going through personal stuff and they try their best to, leave their problems at home. But, sometimes it just seeps through and you got to remember like, hey, man, these people are humans. And, let's make sure that they're good because, if they're not good, then they're not going to do a good job, So, like, if they're stressed out or if they're going through something, they're struggling with something, you can't expect them, especially a customer service job. They're not going to be in here all smiling and all happy, if they're not happy, it's going to be really hard for them. So sometimes, we just got to, settle down and remember, like, hey, man, these people are humans. Let's check on them and make sure that they're good. And then, just kind of go from there. So.
Yeah, we've had to, figure out how to balance that because we've had almost too big of hearts sometimes. And so we get taken
Talk about that.
advantage of.
About that. I think with business also you want to help people, but sometimes they're looking to take advantage of that help also,
yeah,
right?
when you're late after your 20th time, then it's like, man,
we just talked about that.
We've definitely had a few of those, and it's really hard because it's just like, we feel for them, and it's like, where do we draw the line? Because, like, they are going through real things, and we know they are. Like, we know that, you know, maybe they're busing to work and like sometimes it's out of their control, and like it's hard, you know. You got to find that balance, and I don't think every person is going to have the same amount of balance. You know, we have to kind of take it as it goes.
Yeah, it's I've never had to fire anybody. Well, I'll take that back. I had to fire a comedian one time. In between shows, we had 2 shows. After the first show, they did so bad I had to fire him, and it was very difficult. I paid him for the first show, and I had to let him go. Being on that side of the fence, you know, and I've been fired, you know, before. I had a manager tell me, "You have so much potential, you know, but you're gonna have to take that somewhere else because the attitude you're displaying here is not cohesive for the workplace that I want. And you can't be jokey all the time when it's, you know, time to get serious, and you seem to have more of a jovial. Maybe you need to find a job that, you know, you can just rely on your humor. Oh, okay. I guess I'll be a comedian.
That worked out.
That kind of worked out for me, you know. It's kind of hard when you're making sandwiches and like cracking jokes all the time. And then it's just like it's a job to be done. Talk about, you know, that dreadful day when you know an employee is going to be let go before they even know. And are you prone to let them go at the beginning of work or at the end? I always said, fire me at the beginning. Don't make me work all day, but let me go. But it's different for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
I think every time it's been before.
I've had my, you know, fair share of having to let employees go in my career, you know, and it's pretty rough, you know.
Yeah.
I can still remember my very first one, like my very first employee I had to let go. It was at the Mexican restaurant I worked at, and, you know, this guy, good worker, man, but, you know, he was just making some personal choices that, you know, were just affecting this job. And I think finally what drew the line is he got arrested, DUIs. He was locked up for a couple of days, and then he came back, you know. And so, like, as soon as he showed up to his shift, you know, I was like, had to sit him down, and he's like crying, man, like begging me to like, because he could feel that it was coming, you know. And I was just like, man, you know, I'm sorry, you know, I gotta let you go. And granted, I'm like 19 years old. And I'm just like, man, and, you know, I give him the check and have a conversation. He's like, man, I don't have a ride home. Like, can you take me home? So I had to drive this kid home, man. So I was just like, man, dude, like, heck yeah, dude. So, like, after having that awkward conversation, I still had to have an awkward 20-minute drive to take him back to his house, you know. So I was
You
like,
should drive this kid. You were 19. It was
That's
a kid driving a kid.
Too, man.
You can't even buy a beer right there.
You know, yeah, and that's what I'm saying, you know, like, he was just, you know, not making good choices. I was just like, man, it's crazy, so.
But
yeah,
you were a mature 19, obviously in a management position. So did you feel like, you know, you just were a little bit more mature than your counterparts? Like, the 19-year-old was at the job and you're 19. You probably was like 28 to them in some ways.
Yeah, I guess. You know, shoot, I had to fire a guy that was, you know, 40.
Yeah.
And he had been there for 15, 16 years, you know,
Wow.
and you know, it was just unfortunate. And that was a tough one, too, you know, having to, because I just kind of got, like, pushed into the position. So, like, we didn't have any management positions when I worked there, you know, from 15 to that point. The managers were whoever's worked the longest on shift, you're in charge. You know, that's how it was. And then finally the restaurant shifted to, you know, we're going to hire a corporate general manager. And then they created these positions, and they were like, you know, I felt like it was because I was the only one that spoke English. I got the position of the kitchen manager because, you know, it was going to be the easiest to communicate with the GM because the GM did not know any Spanish at all. So he's like, you're going to be in charge. And I was just like, what? I was like, dude, like, no, like, you have all these people that have worked here, you know, for years. He's like, I don't care. You're going to be the one that's in charge. And I was just like, all right. You know, so having to figure out how to, you know, maneuver that and deal with that, you know, was pretty rough too, because these guys were just like challenging me every single day.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
like, man, you ain't gonna do nothing. Like, the owner loves me. I've been here for 20 years. Like, she'll choose me over you every day, you know. And I'm just like, all right, dude, whatever. So until one day, you know, I was just like, I called them on their bluff. The like main guy, he was just like, you know, I'm not gonna listen to you. I don't care, and you could go tell the owner right now. So all right, let's go. So I go, because luckily she was there. So I knocked on the office door. And then she's like, she opens it, and she's like, what can I do? I was like, come on, bro. I was like, and I told her, oh, Francisco wants something. He has something to say to you, you know. And he was just like, oh, I just want to let you know that Steven's doing a really good job. And then, you know, good job at making him the manager or whatever. And I looked at him like, what? And I was like, man, whatever, dude, you know. And then, so then after that, like, everybody just kind of like found line because I was just like, man, whatever, dude. Like, you guys ain't gonna punk me. I don't care.
Yeah.
But long story short, he does all the firing. So.
Yeah. You know, because when I asked that question, Chloe was looking directly at you, and I was like,
I'll
okay.
cry.
She can't even write nobody up, man. She had to write. I had her do one write up, man, and she was just like, I can't do this. So I was just like, what?
Not to go work for you guys. Like, John's eating all the product. Right?
Yeah, man. You know, so you just kind of, you gotta just. I found that you can't beat around the bush, man. Don't try and make it too lengthy, personal. Just keep it quick, like yo, man. Sorry. Good luck.
Yeah, wish you the best.
Yeah.
So you got that calm, cool personality for that position too, because you have like a nice poker face, like not emotional like me. Like, did you know what you did, right? So I think that really like elevates your leadership too, and it shows that you could have different styles of leadership. You know? So I think that's really awesome. And Chloe, for you being a CEO and a female, right? Like, I'll be honest with you, here in Central California, we all kind of know each other. I don't know a lot of CEOs that are female, to be honest with you. And I mean, even on one of my favorite shows, Undercover Boss, shout out to Undercover Boss, right?
Shout out,
I love watching that show. I rarely see females as CEOs, and that show's been on forever, right? So what's that like to take pride in your work and like represent and be like, yo, I am doing this?
It's pretty crazy, honestly. I get questioned all the time. Like, it like literally happened like 2 days ago. Some guy was just like, "You're not the owner. The guy's the owner." And I'm like, "No, I am too." Yeah, no, I am too. It happens constantly, especially, it has a lot to do with me being a female. Some of it has to do with my age. I think that people look at me and they're like, "Oh, there's no way," and I constantly, they comment like, "No, you're just a worker." And I'm like, no, like, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure I'm on the lease. Hold on, let me check.
Like, want me to show you my lease agreement or what?
Yeah, but like, it's definitely a struggle because people don't take me seriously. I think also it has to do with a little bit of my personality. I feel like I'm pretty nice, and so I think that constantly it's either taken advantage of or they just don't take me seriously because they think I'm just this bubbly little blonde white girl,
See, there's the bubbliness right there. Yeah,
they don't necessarily take me as serious until they realize, oh yeah, like, no, she's doing business.
Yeah. That's really awesome. So
you mentioned Undercover Boss. That's you like that show?
I love that show. Yeah.
Okay, now you guys weren't on that show, right?
No.
Oh, it's because my uncle was on that show. Rest in peace.
No way.
Kenneth Todd. If you look it up, he worked for DirecTV. Wow. And he was the guy that was there every day. And if they had a problem, he would go to bed. He only lived 10 minutes away from them, and he would go down there. So the owner came in and did the whole dress up, and he got so much praise. Wow. He gave an award. He passed away. They dedicated a whole wing under his name. He also, they went on a cruise. He gave him money, scholarship money for his kid. It was a big episode. I was so proud of my uncle because he was that employee. He said, I wish I had like 1,000 of you. This company would take off. I mean, he wouldn't take vacations. He wouldn't do anything. He was just, because he knew how important it was. Like if it was a fight or a game or something, like Sunday football, he wouldn't go anywhere. He would sometimes just go to work off the clock to make sure nothing would cut off,
Dedicated, huh?
He was dedicated, and they saw that, and they were just like, man. Okay, I digress.
We got to give him a ring on that one, man. Shout out to him, man. That work ethic, beautiful.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, you got to find out. I'm going to Google that and check that out.
Okay, I'll get that
really
information,
cool.
man. Yeah, I watched it. It was a really good look for him, and yeah, he was really shocked when it happened. But he was so helpful to the owner who was messing up, probably on purpose, but he was directing them through everything. And he was taking his time. He said, you're the most patient person to work with me. And that takes a lot of patience to do what you guys do, especially working with people off the street. Yeah, just coming in hungry, got, what they call it, hangry. Hangry, yeah. Don't know really what they want. Explain it to me. What is this? It's like, you got to have a lot of patience in what you guys do. And I tip my hat. I always say I would work customer service one day and I would get fired because someone would get cursed out for getting all up in my face. I just can't be that, oh, you're right. Customer's always right. I know. Customer's wrong today. Let's go ahead and put that out there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You guys probably have your regulars, that you see like all the time. And I mean, talk about downtown Fresno, the beautification process of that. Like that's to me, that's like home for Fresno. That's like the real true identity of Fresno's downtown. What's it like having like your usuals, and lunchtime is packed, man. It's beautiful to see everybody and all the businesses thriving, So what's that like to be in the heart of Fresno?
It's pretty cool. Honestly, downtown is like, I'm so glad that we opened our first business downtown. We really have some really cool regulars, and the cool part is that like we're actively involved in their life now. So like one of our regulars, he's going to flight school right now. Shout out to Shannon. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But like we get to see one of our regulars is getting married. Like we're actively involved in their lives because they're coming by. We're talking to them. And that's another thing that goes with the customer service is just finding out like what's going on in our customers' lives. It's really cool to see. It's like we're growing with them.
Yeah. We have really cool neighbors, like people around us, other, restaurants and stuff. They're in downtown too. Like everybody's just super cool. It's just like a real small family right there. So
yeah, that's I think a big thing about the restaurant is no matter what we've been through, we've really built some really cool relationships. Like our neighbors have been like so supportive, and they're like people that are our friends now. And it's just it's wild where this road has brought us, and the people that it's brought in our lives.
And you guys are getting the word out there. I'm at work and I'm listening, and a commercial comes on. Hummus Republic. You guys are just on there, and it's. I'll give you some backstory on the Greg and Dre Morning Show, Q971. My partner Greg is hummus dude.
Oh yeah,
he is the top hummus. He's been talking. He says hummus is a meal. We've had arguments on the show, so now when I go back to work in the next few days, I'm going to talk to him how we can incorporate a whole segment. Talking about hummus, and of course talking about you guys, especially since I've had the food. This is probably the rudest interview I've ever done. I'm just eating in between questions, but it is really hard to put down, man. I'm just like I keep looking at it like, okay, they talking, take a bite. But my whole kickback with him is like hummus is not a meal. So we've gone back and forth for years over this because I went to his house for a football game and he had hummus. And I was like, and chips. I was like, where's the food at? Where's the sandwiches? He was like, no, dude, hummus. That's all you need. So we've had some fun with that. So I definitely want to bring that up and talk to him about it and say, hey, man, I stand corrected. But the way they do it, it's a meal. It's some meat in there. He's not the big meat guy, but he loves hummus. It's just he's the one that turned me on to it. So but congratulations, and now that I can put the two and two together, I can make it more personable when I talk about it on the air.
Yeah, thank you.
That'd be great.
That'd be great, absolutely.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, Lexi's our girl.
Oh yeah, she's cool.
Lexi,
For sure. She's actually the voice of our commercial.
Yeah.
She recorded it for us.
She has been one of our regulars for a while too.
Right on.
So
cool, good for her.
It was so cool that she was able to do that for us.
That's legit. I'm saying, man, good people know each other.
Shout out Q971.
Thank you.
So, guys, what's next? Chloe, starting with you, where do you see Hummus Republic evolving to?
I mean, of course, we'd love to grow more. Right now, we're just trying to focus on growing what we have. It's definitely had its struggles, especially right now, how we were talking about how the wages have gone up. Well, the pricing's gone up for us significantly. And so right now, we're just trying to make it. We're trying to market a little more, cater a little more, be more active with our business. And I think, honestly, that it's been crazy, but struggling has put us into rooms that we wouldn't have been in had we not been struggling. So, like, it's making me do things like this. It's making me talk to people that I wouldn't normally go and talk to. It's making me join, like Fresno Area Hispanic Foundation. It's making me take classes and do things to grow as a business owner versus if we were just doing amazing, I don't think that I'd be doing
I love it.
Those things.
It's teaching you more of a hustle, too.
Yeah,
maintain the hustle.
For sure. That, and another thing that has really been prominent in our life now is it's brought us really close to God.
That's awesome.
Like, it's a huge thing in our lives right now is that I don't think that we would, I truly believe that this is part of our path. Like, that if we did not go through what we're going through, we would not be believing right now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a wild ride that we've been on for sure.
That's awesome. That's the foundation. I got to give you another ring right here, man. That's awesome. Now, for all of this organically, I mean, that's our foundation, you know, in what we do. And we didn't have that on the description. Like, Dre, you have to be this. It was just, we naturally just talked about it, organically talked about how we're all believers. So that's awesome to hear about that,
Shout
too.
out to Jesus.
Yeah,
man.
and that's what, you know, if when you singly pray and say, hey, God, put me around people who have the same beliefs that I do, and let me grow something with them. And, you know, it happens. It's like, that's that spiritualness that comes with it. You just have to believe that it's going to happen, and you're going to gravitate, because you can easily gravitate towards the people who are going to pull you down, and it can seem like it's a positive thing, but it's really not. But then you find someone like, you know, talking about H here, and well, how he found me, and then we just kind of gravitated, and we've just grown into what we are today, and we continue trying to do things just like your company. You're just growing, and things are happening, and it's just you gotta enjoy the ride. You know, you just gotta. It's just never gonna be just this smooth thing. I've been in entertainment. It's going close to 30 years now, and I'm never amazed. It never ceases to amaze me the blessings that come when you least expect it. You know, just to get a phone call, it's like, wow. I share with my wife all the time. I just got this call. It's amazing. It's like, she goes, yeah, I know it's gonna happen. Like, you know, we just believe it. It's gonna happen. You know, I just came back from Orlando. My daughter's wrestling in WWE now, so it's like,
Nice.
yeah, it's just watching her go through the whole process and going out there and watching her. And then she was on television. Her debut was just last week. You know, and it's just, you know, you see your kids just kind of come up and just, yeah, thank you. And it's just, you know, and she was on the show, and they showed her. It was like a documentary, the rise of it's next gen, WWE next gen, and it was one particular scene where she was praying before a particular match. You know, just God protect her and her opponent, and it's just like they caught that on camera. And you're like, wow, you go, see, that's what I'm talking about. That's how you want your kids. Yeah, you want your kids to always know that there's someone that they can go to and they can call on when they're in a time of need. They may not be able to call me or mom, but, you know, they can always call on God. So that was cool to see it, and, you know, just kind of be at her apartment and seeing her just, you know, thriving and telling me to cut lights off. Dad, cut the light off. I got to pay this bill. I'm like, life has gone full circle now. It was amazing.
Yeah, we've definitely, there's been moments in the business where you're like, oh, God does exist, you know, because there's been times where, like, literally we had a 3-day notice on our PG&E, and we got a call for a catering. It was a $7,000 catering that we did not go out and try and get.
Yeah, it just came.
We got a call
just
organically. It came, and that paid our bill. And, like, we were just like, how do you explain stuff like that, you know? And so it's just like, that's why we keep going, because obviously this is, you know, the path that we're supposed to be on.
Yeah, stay on your path.
Yeah.
For sure.
Steven,
Yeah,
what about
man,
you,
it's
man?
awesome,
What's next
man.
for you? I mean, what's the plans? What do you
No,
think?
not sure. You know, I'm not a real big planner. I'm more of a, you know, I take it day by day, you know, and just kind of see where God takes me. You know, here, it's pretty recent, and to be honest, it's probably like 4 months, you know, that I recommitted my life to Christ. You know, I was away from God for a while. I was away from the church, you know, just stuff that's happened in my life. You know, I was kind of angry at God for a while, and, you know, and I think, you know, like she said, you know, we started struggling and going through these hard times too. And they're just, you know, reminders like, hey, you know, I'm right here. I'm still here. I've been here. I haven't went anywhere, you know. And, you know, we met some good people, came into our life, and just kind of like, you know, reminded us like, hey, you know, God is good, and he's here for you. He hasn't gave up for you, you know. And we found a really good church in town, you know, that we started going to, you know, shout out Celebration Church, Fresno. And, you know, it's just, we feel really at home there, you know, and it's brought us closer together. It's brought our family closer together as well. And, you know, I just feel like it's really helping our business thrive. You know, we've been changed up, you know, like music in our restaurant. We have, you know, faith-based music
That
playing.
hummus place is playing Christian music.
Yeah, man, it's funny, man, because like people will come in and be like, what the heck, this is a Mediterranean restaurant, and they're talking about Jesus. Like, yeah, man, you know, and like, so it's pretty cool, man. It's pretty awesome for people to come in and just, you know, ask you like, hey, like, you have a cross, you believe in God? And I'm like, yes, you know, and like be able to have those conversations, you know, and it's pretty awesome, and it just feels great, man. And like not to be ashamed, and because I think there was a time in my life where I was just like, if somebody asked me if I believe in God, I'd probably say no, or I'd be like, I don't know, even though I knew, it's just certain situations in your life just I was lost, and so I think it's been great, finding him again, and having him as our foundation in our family and stuff, and it's just great, man, seeing our kids too. Like, we have a 4-year-old, man, and dude, watching him praise the Lord is amazing, bro. Like, it is like the best feeling in the world to see him just cool. Close his eyes, put his hands up in the air, and sing songs. At 4 years old, it's just like, wow, man, it's just awesome, dude. So yeah, man, so it's cool.
Good for you, man. Hey, man, you stay faithful, and next thing you know, there'll be a line around the block, and you'll be closed on Sunday. Yeah. Like this other chicken place that I've heard of.
There you go. For sure. Family, we got to give a ring for Chloe and Steven, Hummus Republic. But before we get on out of here, Dre, I think it's that time. What time is it?
Lightning round?
It's time for the lightning round.
Lightning round.
So I think you're going to start off ladies first with Chloe.
Yeah.
Let me drink some of it. What's in here?
Yeah, take a little sip.
It's vodka on the rocks.
You want me to hit with 3 quick ones? How you want me to do it?
Let's do 5 if you can. Let's do
5 quick ones. Okay.
Oh, man.
Favorite Raider of all time?
Janikowski.
Ooh.
Okay.
That's the only Raider she knows.
Shut up. Don't talk about my
He's
baby
the only one that
daddy.
made us point.
Whatever.
Baby daddy Derek Carr, too.
Love at first sight, or did it grow on you?
Grew.
They grew. Okay. Lightning round. Okay. How many kids?
3.
3. Do you have a favorite?
Yes.
Okay. I love the honesty.
Keep it there.
I love the honesty.
Stevie, he's 15.
Yeah.
Counting down the days.
Everybody got different. One more. Let's see here. Dream vacation.
Ooh, that's a good one. I don't know. Hawaii, I guess. Okay. I've been talking about that for a while.
I just went in January. So, yeah, I had a great time. All right. You did a great job.
Excellent. Some rings for the Chloe's lightning round. Steve, I'm going to hit you because we're both Selma boys, all right?
Yeah.
Your favorite thing to eat at Sal's Mexican restaurant?
Dang, that's a hard one.
It's lightning round, bro.
My bad. I'm going to have to go with the fancy burrito.
For sure. There you go, man. If you don't know about the fancy burrito in Selma, make sure to hit up Carl and Lorraine for sure. They'll take care of you. Music artists that you are into that would be a surprise to most people?
Taylor Swift.
Hey, you're a Swiftie? Okay. All right, man. Fill in the blank for this one. Owning your own business is...
Great.
Very enthusiastic about that, bro. That's motivating all future entrepreneurs right there.
They can't wait.
What is another Fresno? Let's do Fresno. What is another Fresno restaurant that you really dig, that you really respect? Maybe the owners, to the food, the customer service, etc.
Valentino's Italian restaurant in downtown Fresno.
Shout out to the owner,
Shout out
bro.
to Rafa.
Wow.
That guy is awesome, man. He's awesome, dude.
Yeah, he is, man. Me and Marty went in there, my wifey. We went
Oh,
in there.
yeah?
Man.
Oh, they did. I saw them posters.
Yeah.
We love that place.
Such a great dude.
Yeah.
Awesome. What would you like your customers to know about your mission at Hummus Republic? And I think we got the tail end of it too. Like, it's really faith-based, and maybe it's turned into that. But what would you want your customers, especially future customers, to know about Hummus Republic?
Man, that's a hard one. That's a Chloe question. What I would want our customers to know about Hummus Republic. Yeah, for sure. We're not plant-based only. We're not a vegan restaurant. A lot of people think that we're only a vegan restaurant. There is something for everyone there. It doesn't matter if you're a meat eater, vegetarian, if you have a gluten allergy, if you're allergic to dairy, you name it. We probably have something there for you. And, really what's most important to us is the customer experience, So, like, I feel like our food is good. It looks pretty. It's going to sell itself. But what I want to sell you is a great experience when you come into my restaurant, that you leave there feeling, like it was worth the dollars that you're working hard to spend there.
Love it, man. Did you practice that one? Did you have a little flashcard right there, man?
No,
Excellent.
Came off the head.
Steve and Chloe, I just want to thank you guys because it's been that fast, 3-4 years that you guys have been in business, but you guys did not hesitate to become an official Rise to It sponsor. And so I want to thank you guys. It wasn't really even a question. You guys were just like, okay, so you guys are doing this with students. We want to contribute to that. And you guys still continue. Hey, do you guys need gift cards for the students when you're out there? I think that's really commendable for you guys. You guys come from genuine heart. You guys are going to continue to serve genuine hearts. So we wish you mad success. So shout out to both of you. Hummus Republic, make sure to check it out, y'all. Make sure to check it out. And family, as always, 2-finger spread. Try your best to stay positive. And as always, if you can rise to it, you can rise through it. We'll catch you later, guys.